You know, a lot of these defund the police movement, they collected a lot of money, donations or government money, and then they put it in their pockets, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, welcome back to Briefing with the Chief. This is a quick Chief's brief. We're going to talk about some crime and some fraud going on up in San Francisco involving members of the defund the police movement. Now, they just indicted Cheryl Davis, and she was the head of the Human Rights Commission in San Francisco. And she directed money into her own pockets through her boyfriend, who ran a nonprofit, and she got busted for it. But let me talk a little bit about what she actually did. So let me. So she was in charge of a project called the Dream Keepers Initiative. This was an initiative where they transferred $120 million from the San Francisco PD budget into a program that was supposed to help the black communities, but it seemed like most of the help went to her and her family. So what she did, here's what she said she was going to do. The purpose of the Dream Keepers initiative was to combat wealth and income inequality to support black-led organizations and individuals. Well, it certainly helped her organization and her family. Funding areas programs included economic empowerment, holistic family services, education, health and wellness, and art and culture. Certainly, obviously, for her family, this all worked out, but it certainly didn't work out for the community. Impact, the initiative has assisted over 20 black families with homes purchases and supported numerous nonprofits. So 20 families, $120 million. Can we see what's going on here? A lot of people are getting a lot of money to deal with the inequities of the past, but it seems to be just a very few, and those people have political clout and political power. And the structure initiative administered across several city departments, the program has faced scrutiny regarding the oversight, leading to stricter accountability measures in 2025. So now that the money has been stolen, we're going to get a little more serious about how we're going to deal with it. So basically, we got a headline here. Let's look at the headline. We got this. There it is. This ex San Francisco official Cheryl Davis arrested alongside her collaborator, charged with felonies. Now she's been charged with 17 felonies and 2 misdemeanors that include misappropriation of funds and perjury, which means she lied about it. She diverted $4.5 million to her boyfriend's nonprofit, James Spinskala, via his nonprofit called Collective Impact. Now, here we go. We've been talking about nonprofits. Everybody's talking about nonprofits and how they've been just given money and nobody's done any checks to make sure that they've actually followed through. We're talking about the nonprofits here in Los Angeles, whether it's watching kids or hospice care, ripping us off blind, but it's also going on in San Francisco with this defund the police movement. But this is let me read just a couple of things out of that article I just showed you. Let me just read it. Davis has argued that her financial decision making of her department included determining what organizations received grant fundings was largely not up to her. So she says it wasn't me. But on Monday, Jenkins, this was the DA, announced that the investigative team found that Davis was heavily involved in the decision-making process, and she benefited from this money that went to her boyfriend. The excessive purchases were largely made on Davis's behalf and for her personal ventures, including for the promotion of her children's book and her podcast. Our investigation was very thorough, Jenkins says. The team executed 50 search warrants and combed through Davis's emails, finding evidence to support Davis's involvement. Jenkins, again, this is DA, noted that although the Collective Impact, now this is the nonprofit that her boyfriend ran, received a low score, meaning we shouldn't give them any money, through the city's request for proposal process. This is the bidding process that you have to put in whenever you're going for government money. Been through it multiple times. A scoring metrics that allocated funding that was recommended to not receive funding by the committee it received it anyways. So basically, what happened is she used her influence to direct this money to her boyfriend. Then she benefited from it. In fact, she spent $10,000 on a rental house in Martha's Vineyards for a vacation. 10,000 of government money that was supposed to empower the black community. It empowered her, got her a lot of benefits. But hey, we got another one. We got the press conference from the DA's office itself. Now, in this one, it kind of goes over a lot of the same stuff. Former Human Rights Commission executive director and former Collective Impact executive director charged with multiple felonies in connection to financial conflicts of interest and misappropriate of public funds. But there's one other nonprofit that got money. It's a nonprofit that her son worked at, and her son got $140,000. Now, this is a grift that is going on around the country with a lot of these organizations. They're supposed to be there to help the black community in the wake of George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement. And this grift is going on all over the country. We got another headline. This one is from California. Black Lives Matter activists accuse executives of stealing $10 million in donors' fund. Now, this has been an ongoing thing. The original, Patricia Collier's, the original founder of Black Lives Matter, was accused of using the money to buy multiple houses. She stepped down. This is another executive. But it's not just in San Francisco, not just in Los Angeles or California. It's in Oklahoma, too. Here's another headline. Oklahoma City Black Lives Matter leader indicted on embezzlement and money laundering charges. So they're empowering themselves. They're getting the money and they're empowering themselves. They're not giving back to the very community that they said they're going to help. But it's not just in Oklahoma, not just in California. It's also in Montana. Here we go. Here we get another headline. Ex-Black Lives Matter employee sentenced to prison for stealing money by forging government checks. So they're getting government money and he's forging the checks and he's writing it to himself and he's benefiting from himself. And here's the thing. Now, they took $120 million from the San Francisco Police Department back then, and we saw an increase in crime in the city of San Francisco. We see homelessness is out of control in San Francisco. And these folks took that money for themselves. They bought things and that benefited just them. They made sure their families were taken care of. Guess who wasn't taken care of? The homeless on the street, the addicted, the mentally ill, the people in the black community who've been suffering for decades. They didn't get any help. Who got help? The grifters. Their families got help. Then we need to have tighter controls over the nonprofits that we give our money to. Whether you're giving money for private money or we're giving government money, we shouldn't do it out of guilt. We shouldn't do it out of, let's just keep them quiet and give them some money. We need to do it. And here's one of the other things that I on Sherly Davis that I forgot to mention. They asked her a bunch of questions. Well, why? What happened? Why'd you do this? And her attorney says, well, you know what? They didn't have good systems and controls in place. And she was asking for help from the government to explain to her how to do all this stuff. But here's the thing. One thing everybody knows is you don't take money to benefit yourself if you're running a nonprofit. I don't need any rules. I don't need anybody to tell me that. That's basic. That's the moral thing. The moral thing to do is to make sure the money goes where it's supposed to go, not to enrich you. When you start enriching yourself and you think it's okay to spend $10,000 to go on a vacation at Martha Vineyards with government money, you've lost your way, or maybe you never really had the morals and values that you talked about, that you used. They raised the conscience of all of us to help, and they took the money for themselves. That's it for Briefing with the Chief for today, for a quick Chief's Brief. And remember to like, subscribe, follow, and comment on all of my shows, and we will see you at the next one.